So Black Panther Wakanda Forever just dropped in theaters, thus concluding the MCU Phase 4 movies. So I guess today I'm going to be ranking all of them, from Black Widow to Wakanda Forever. Also, I'm not going to rank any of the shows yet since Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special did not come out yet during the recording of this video, and I have absolutely no idea if it's in Phase 4 or Phase 5, so I'm just going to make a whole separate video about it when it comes out. Thor: Love and Thunder.
Trash.
I don't want to talk about this piece of garbage of a movie. This movie is a living joke. It does not take anything seriously and just cracks jokes every single minute. This movie also looks like really bad. The CGI is just terrible. Like, Marvel, give your editors more time. This shot is giving me nightmares. The only okay parts were the Guardian scenes in the beginning and Gore, who was only in the movie for 5 minutes because this movie is too short. I feel like there were so many good ideas and plot lines introduced here that are just wasted, like the City of Gods, Gore, and Eternity. Also, Lady Sif returns in this movie and the movie just forgets that she ever existed for the rest of the runtime. I also wanted another interaction with Thor and Rocket since they had a great duo relationship in Infinity War and Endgame. Also, almost all the characters are just bland and don't do anything to the plot except for Thor, Jane, and Gore. Like Valkyrie and Korg, like they did not have to be in this movie at all. There's so many disappointing and terrible things about this film I can talk about, but overall this is just a not funny, bland, disappointing movie that's way too short, that doesn't focus on the villain, that relies too much on the jokes, that it doesn't have any emotional moments or good plot lines and characters. It's just garbage. I'll give it like a 4 out of 10, and that's me being generous. If I'm being honest, I think Eternals actually has grown on me. It still has the same issues with too many characters, too many plot lines. But after the second viewing, I actually found some things I actually enjoyed about it. I appreciate Marvel for experimenting on this film and trying to do something different. Something that Thor: Love and Thunder failed at doing. This is Marvel's most ambitious film and tackles lots of philosophical messages and questions. This movie also has great effects and shots throughout the entire movie. Again, unlike Thor: Love and Thunder, the action and fight scenes are actually really good too. This movie still has too much things going on, too much plot lines, too much characters. It should have been like a Disney Plus show. We don't have time to develop any of these characters, and some of the characters even die before we even get introduced to them. But I still respect Marvel for trying something new, and I respect it way more than Thor: Love and Thunder. You know what? I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness is okay, I guess, but just really underwhelming. Other than the Illuminati, this movie didn't really have any other cameos or surprises. It's kind of sad how a movie with the name Multiverse of Madness in it only included 2 different universes we actually spent time in, and one of them being a world that's almost exactly the same as our main universe, but with pizza balls and opposite stoplight colors. Wow, Marvel, this is such a cool concept and universe. It's really interesting. I feel like there was so much potential this movie had, and it just wasted it and was too short. But aside from that, this movie is not terrible. I liked the horror and Sam Raimi-isms that take place in this film. I liked Doctor Strange and America Chavez. The action and directing is really good. Wanda was a good enough villain, but I wish we had more screen times to see her descent into evil from the Darkhold. This is not a bad movie, but it's just disappointing. I'll give it like a 6.5 out of 10. Black Widow is an overhated movie, I guess. I don't really have that much to say about it. I liked Yelena and Red Guardian. They were really charismatic and fun to watch. Maybe even more than Black Widow herself. The action for the most part was good, and I liked this movie going into Black Widow's past. I also liked the spy genre this movie embraced, and the family interactions. But the third act is just bonkers, and Taskmaster was wasted. This movie should have came out years ago, and some of the parts are forgettable. It's still an okay movie and watchable, but it's just not that special. I guess I'll give it like a 6.51, which is slightly better than Doctor Strange. Black Panther Wakanda Forever was just an emotional ride. When they announced this film after Chadwick Boseman's death, I was kind of worried since I didn't know where the story was gonna go and how they were gonna continue Chadwick's legacy without recasting him. And after watching the movie, I was actually kind of surprised. The director and production team actually pulled it off. On the one hand, this is a movie about grief. The directing and acting is just phenomenal. You can feel like everyone who worked on this film and all the actors put their heart and soul into making it. The action and CGI were mostly good, except for some shots just looking not that good, but it's nowhere as bad as Thor: Love and Thunder. My only big complaints would be that this movie was too long. I feel like the middle part especially, I feel like we could shorten down some scenes or just cut them out entirely. While I did like Ironheart, I felt like she was only a plot device and didn't really do anything apart from the beginning and the end. There are still lots of things I could say about this film that I might just save for an independent video, but overall this is a really solid emotional movie. I'll give it like an 8 out of 10. Shang-Chi and the Legends of the Ten Rings is just a great underrated movie. The action and choreography is just great, and the characters are funny, lovable, and have really emotional cores. The Mandarin is one of my favorite villains in the MCU because he's well written and has such emotional core. The scenes he has with Shang-Chi and his sister are just great and really emotional. I love how this film includes Chinese mythology and cultures that the MCU hasn't really done before. I liked the humor for the most part, but some of it felt a little bit forced, and I think that the third act was filled with a little bit too much CGI. But other than that, I love this film for what it is. I'll give it like a 9 out of 10. I think you guys knew going into this video that Spider-Man No Way Home would easily be at number 1. It's basically a perfect Spider-Man movie. Obviously, you have all the villains, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield coming back in the multiverse shenanigans. Now, I was really disappointed about being a MCU fan after Endgame and Infinity War, so I couldn't experience the hype or in-theater reaction. But Spider-Man No Way Home basically made up for it. It's such a good movie. It has probably the best audience reaction. The hype surrounding it was just phenomenal. This movie was really emotional and pretty much closed out Tom Holland's arc for the Home trilogy. There are so many good things about this movie, and I just don't have time to talk about each and every one of them. Other than the setup problem, this is basically a perfect movie. 9.9 out of 10. May or may not be my favorite MCU movie. Don't make me choose.